Hi, this is episode 2 of King A's podcast. And we are here with Dennis, Sam, and Josh, 3 of Erin's good friends. And we're gonna talk today about a few different things. But I wanted to start by maybe if you could each share a fond memory that you have with Erin. And whoever wants to go first can go.
I'll start because next to you. It's really difficult because there's actually quite a lot. A lot of my memories with Aaron come from like childhood, so it's like 13 and younger, and it's like I don't know. You see, like now being an adult, playing football as kids, water fights, youth club, everything. All of that is just it's like gold dust in it. So I couldn't even say one in particular if I'm honest. It's just him in general is a good memory in it. Yeah.
What about him would you say? I'm gonna probe a bit.
Do you know what it is? It's his ability to just be so understanding. Like, it's very hard in a time like today's society. It's hard to be around people that are just like genuine, want to see you win. Like, and you know when you're trying to push yourself out of your comfort zone, it's your friends are the first ones to judge you or knock you back, and it's like he's just someone that was just so understanding. So I had like a whole like modeling thing to do. I'm not really a model if you ask me, and it's like I was a bit skeptical about doing it, and the fitting was in Hackney Downs, and I just shouted down. I was like, I got this fitting to do, and he was just like, yeah, come do it. I won't even lie, the fit they gave me was a bit funky, but I was like, yeah, do it regardless, and I did it, and I don't regret it, innit? So it's just like that in itself, innit? Like just that's who he was, innit? Like just proper understanding, like yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Dennis. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I might as well. Let's go around. Yeah, man, I'll say everything Dennis just said, like kicking ball in the back, us 3 especially, we used to do that a lot. Just chilling, listening to music, busting jokes. But my most fond memory with him, I'd say personally, was no one probably even knows this, but Aaron taught me how to tie a tie. Like the day before secondary school, you know what I'm saying? Because he's like a year above me. So he's already in school, but obviously I'm rolling with these man, they're older than me. So I'm picking up like lots and lots of things off them separately. But yeah, man, like day before school, I remember just being in his room and he's taught me how to like tie a tie. And since then, yeah, man, I know how to tie a tie, innit? That's my like fondest memory with Aaron still, definitely.
Powerful stuff. Yeah. For myself, I would say like if I'm to like kind of introduce like our friendship, Aaron was like when I first kind of came over to the flats and started hanging, Aaron was like one of the first people who I had a friendship with. Obviously, Dennis being his neighbour, Sam being neighbour. So we all kind of grew up together as peers. Aaron was always like welcoming, playful, like used to like to laugh a lot, like have a joke. So I had like a big, powerful laugh. Like if he was laughing, you could hear Aaron. You know Aaron's laughing. Yeah. And like in year 7 or year 8, sometimes we used to hang and then we kind of drifted apart. It's only in going to college that we kind of rekindled our friendship. It's kind of gone into a long story, but like my 2 fondest things with Aaron is obviously 1, he was a big food lover. So we just used to go to bare different places. We'd just get food, whether it's Nando's, the Chicken Kitchen. Like we just love food. We'll go Smokies and buy a jerk pork and jerk chicken. Like so it was proper like a food thing. There were proper just roll places, just us 2 bedrooms, TGI Friday. We'll just grab the food. So one of my things was just having like a food buddy kind of like, we'll just go, we'll just get munches, stuff like that. And then separately, I would have to say it's going Greece. We went Greece for my birthday. Aaron was my only friend that came with me. So I had this idea, put it to the man them, we ain't been nowhere together. Let's go somewhere together.
No
one didn't really fall through, but Azza was my right-hand man. He came through for me. We went there for about 5 days. Had a great holiday, like everything you could imagine. I don't want to go into like too much detail, but I would say our holiday in Greece because it was just us two. So it made me appreciate like not having to, sometimes when you go in a group, like everyone, like it's hard to get the cohesion because some people want to go out, some people want to stay in. Some guy, like that made me appreciate going somewhere with like just one other person, like not being like a partner, a female, but as a bedroom and being able to like we literally just had a blast here. Like, so I would always say Greece for me personally. And then obviously the food in between still. Yeah.
Oh, that's like all three of those stories are really lovely. I'm like, I don't know, I'm happy that we're having this conversation, you know, I'll be honest. And I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, why am I happy? Or what is it that I'm feeling? I think from my perspective, you don't really, or I don't really hear the man them speak openly about these things. And I think there is so much, and like we've been grieving this loss in many ways over the past few years. But one of the things that has been really beautiful from my perspective, because obviously I'm not in your friendship circle, but seeing how you've held each other and seeing how you've shown up for the family, seeing how you're like present at every kind of event, and like, yeah, that's been really beautiful. And as someone that has lost friends or lost other people in my life, I don't know, I don't think the pull has been that strong. But kind of seeing you all and seeing the way that you've all kind of banded together, I've found it really beautiful. So it's nice to be here talking about this.
I think if I can quickly say, I think that just goes down to like the character that Aaron was, as in like we've all lost people before. I've lost friends. We've all lost friends like through the streets, through different circumstances, like and usually like in these situations, it's a thing. But obviously you grieve, you mourn the person naturally. You've got relationships, ties. Usually there's someone, not like there's someone to blame, but in a lot of our circumstances where people have passed, it's been due to like things what like cool was the streets, but there's, you know what I mean? There's ties to things in it. And I think with this one, just like the character Aaron was, the person he was a positive person all of our lives. Just to like kind of have that taken from us without much clarity is what's made it like we all need to like kind of come to like, I just feel like it's given more of a like togetherness, and that's my perspective personally.
I would add to that. What I would say is like for me personally, because I moved to the area when I was like 11. I moved out when I was like 13, 14. So I was only there for like 3 years. Yeah. Like there was a lot of memories made in that short space of time. And then like coming back, because I only came back to see Aaron like in 2020. So it was only like a couple months before he passed. And like to meet him again, because that's what happens in the real world, meet him again, meet the mum, the sister, family, everyone again. It was kind of like, it was a weird feeling for me because it's like, wow, it's like time jumping. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, wow, like everyone's here, everyone's healthy. It's the conversation we even had. Everyone's healthy, everyone looks the same, everyone's just trying to like prosper and stuff. So for me, it was like when he passed, and the maddest thing is I was shooting a music video the day he passed. Like Tricks, like Aaron should have kind of been there as well. He should have been, not even kind of, he should have been there. And it was like, when he passed, it was a very surreal feeling. Like, everyone, I'm sure it was a real feeling. For me, it was surreal as well. It was just like, it was hard to find ease at first. But one thing that helped me find ease and comfort, in a hard situation like that was how everyone else reacted. I'm like, I know how I felt about him, but to see everyone else feel the exact same way and like in the numbers as well, I don't know how you make things easier when people pass, but it made it a little bit easier for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To see that,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of you mentioned like a lack of clarity or like, because I can relate to that feeling of this don't feel resolved almost, or it don't make sense. I don't know if there isn't a resolution, but it don't make sense. And I think that has been one of the most difficult things in managing like my emotions or thoughts around it. And yeah, I think thinking about like the process, I've thought over, and we've already put an episode out and spoken a little bit about medical racism, and the ways that we think, or I think, I'll speak for myself, the ways that I think that race played a part in how the hospital handled the situation, is my perspective. And I guess from you lot as like men, because I know how it is, like you're going to hospital, you're saying I need help or whatever it is. I'd be interested to hear a little bit about what your experiences have been like with the NHS or with just healthcare, your health in general. Like, what have you got any experiences that you could maybe speak to about where you maybe haven't been treated fairly or haven't felt welcome by that system?
I've got something to say, but if you don't want to speak, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, no, if you got something, go. Yeah.
Do you know what I say? Like, every situation in life is a new one, so you learn. And like, when I was hearing about like Aaron and how his situation was, it's a new thing and a new like perspective I was learning. And when I kind of heard the family speak about how they felt it was dealt with, because I wasn't close enough to see how it was dealt with, it just kind of reminded me of like the issue we have in society as Black people in general. And I started thinking about how people treat me when I go for job interviews or when I go like into the shop and the security guard. I just feel like in general there's this kind of like stigma or stereotype that follows Black people, which it's gotten to the point where it's not even like Black people can do much to shake it. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a bit that Black people are doing which is like affecting us, but for the ones that are not doing it, it's like it's impossible for us to shake it. And when I look at it like that, yeah, and I just look at how I've been dealt. I've been to the hospital once or twice, and I don't know if it's me or if it's everyone they treat like that, but I just see the lack of care in general. Do you get it?
Yeah.
And then if I now add my personal, being a Black boy to it, I don't imagine us getting the half of the support we really need, as well as the issue we have with our Black women that keep losing their lives during pregnancy as well. Like, for some reason, Black women are just high with it. Like, you know what I mean? So then you go back to Africa and stuff. Yeah, Africa, Black women having kids, no problem. No problem. Do you get what I'm saying? So I don't know if it's a NHS thing or Western thing or just in general, like the care for minorities ain't really there. Like, that's what I personally think. So
Yeah, I think I can agree with that still. Definitely second that. I ain't had many like personal experiences myself, like being in the hospital, but I just feel like some of it is maybe, a lot of it is, as a men, we like to like feel like we are okay a lot. So like, you're feeling like you've got a cold, it's just a cold. You know what I mean? You're feeling like little things, or you've hurt your knee, it's gonna get better in 2-3 days. It's one of them things where like, I feel like as men, we just kind of shy away from going to the hospital. That's me speaking personally. Like, I don't want to generalize everyone, but I do feel like my personal experience is like, if it's not severe or something that I don't feel is gonna blow over, then I won't go to hospital. So it does take a lot of like being kind of pushed and reassured. And some of that stuff does come down to like, when we go to the hospital, we'll be there waiting for time. Like, you're there for hours. Like, there's no real like urgency. You know what I mean? Like, even if they was to try and make you feel like they're dealing with you quickly, it doesn't really seem like that. So you're just another person with another problem sitting here. How many other people has got a problem? You're going to be here for hours. Most people I know, when I've been in hospital, I've left myself, I've discharged. Most people I know, probably more people discharge themselves from hospital than people that actually stay in hospital, because nothing ain't really been done. You know what I mean? Like, we see it in maybe America where they've got an IV for this, they've got a drip for that, you could be on, like, it's just different, you know what I mean, in the UK. So I don't know if it's like a racial thing. I don't know if it's just the medical qualities of the people over here. I don't really know what it is, but I know, like, as men, we do kind of like to feel like we're men, innit? Like, we're okay, this is going to blow over. Like, you've got a cold, you're unwell, you've got this little, if it's not something that's like severe or unusual, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I guess we just kind of prolong going to seek help. Because men are taught to be strong, to be brave, to kind of deal with things internally. And you might reason with one person, or you're not going to go to Google because Google's going to tell you the mad thing. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
As black boys, we just struggle to ask for help, and
Yeah.
especially coming from where we come from. It's just
it's like kind of eatable too.
Literally, there's one time I literally broke my hand, and I was just with these lot on the block playing money up. I don't even think I told these lot. Like, I'm trying to go to bed, struggling. See my mum in the morning, I showed her my hand. She's like, you have to go to hospital, bro.
What hand was you throwing the coins with?
Sorry?
What hand was you throwing the coins with?
Yeah, that's for
Don't
another.
mind me, sorry.
Yeah.
And then again, it's like, if you think about it, like now that I'm thinking about it, you think, like, for me personally, school, like, I couldn't really ask my teachers for help either. And if I didn't understand something, it's because I wasn't listening. Do you get it? So if you start from a young age like that, not being heard, like, you're not gonna. I mean, you know what I mean?
You're not gonna feel like you even got a platform to have a voice to speak. So it's like, who do you speak to? And this
goes
comes
back
down
to that last episode. Sorry, Trick, to cut you off. But you lot was talking about how important it is to have representation in these spaces, and that's
it will go down to a
100%
lack of
like
male,
what we need. You know,
black male representation.
You know, people that we can actually relate to, and people that we have shared experiences with. Especially in these spaces which are not dominated by people like us, you know. It's really important, representation. So yeah, there's most definitely a lack of that, especially in the NHS, as we've seen, unfortunately, with Aaron. But that's why it's important that these conversations are had, so hopefully changes are made, and, you know, in future reference, hopefully we can avoid cases like this.
Yeah, man, you lot have said some things there. There's a few things. One of the things, is about this NHS thing. So what I want to name explicitly, if I think the NHS are on their knees, I think that the government is doing a madness and there's no money, and everyone, black, white, purple, is not having a good experience of the healthcare system. So there's that. But I do think there is an additional thing, and I think both Dennis and Josh, you've both said it, that you don't know in it. That you might be getting treated in a certain way, and it's like, I don't know if this is because I'm black. I don't know if this is because I present in a particular way. I can't prove it. And sometimes it might be that, and sometimes it actually genuinely might not be that. But I guess what I want to highlight for people that are like, it's not about race or da-da-da-da-da, I want to highlight that even me having to ask those questions is mad.
It exists, isn't it? Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Even if, like, even the fact that I'm in a space and it's not just me and I'm in a room and there are 4 of us here having this conversation, all 4 of us are saying, we ask ourselves those questions. Do you know what I mean? Ask any black person in a situation like that. We're wondering, is this about race? And I think even that, I think, needs to be addressed. And I think the other thing that you lot said that I thought was powerful to hear. Firstly, I think it's mad that you was playing money up with a broken hand.
You weren't winning.
The boy A was there as well.
Some coins,
talking about that AJ fight. Yeah.
So AJ fight, I don't even know.
No, I don't know what he's talking about.
You're talking about it's the night AJ had the fight.
It's the night AJ had the fight. He's right.
Yeah,
Because we went to the pub to watch.
Yeah, I remember.
So you went pub with the broken hand?
Yeah, I did.
I
Just doing too much.
So, but that's mad. But it's not actually that mad.
It is though, because I should have went hospital.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
It's mad, and this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm hearing it as someone that is around the mandem, and I know that is it's normal, or it's normalized. It's not normal, but it's normalized, and that's like, there are so many scenarios where people are in like severe pain, severely wounded, severely hurt, in extremely either violent or volatile situations, and like that's handled in house. Do you know what I mean? And
in house is no treatment. That's what in house is. Yeah, trust.
but you're saying it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not treated. Like it's not
It's patched
resolved.
up, but it's gonna blow
And
over.
even then, is it even patched up? Do you know what I mean? So when I'm hearing you lot speak, I'm thinking like what. I don't know. We've said representation. I think that's one important thing that could be.
Yeah.
Go on.
That's definitely a big factor. Yeah, the representation still. Like
Beyond that, what are solutions?
Another thing I think, I don't think half the people that are doing the job in the NHS actually want to do the job though. That's a big problem. I don't think they really want to do it. If I'm not wrong, just some of the things I've heard from families that have been in a situation where they've lost people, they always like a bit of what comes back is there's just a lack of information, especially when it's happening. And that's the most important time as well. There's a lack of information, a lack of where to go, a lack of who to see, a lack of organization, which is it's crazy. And you know what makes it more difficult when you live in a country like this is when you see like the higher ups. When the higher ups lose someone, our whole day has to stop. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, how can our whole day stop? And there's people that really need attention and stuff like this. Do you know what I mean? It just don't make no sense to me in that regard. Even when you look at the coronavirus situation, they were picking people who they're going to give ventilators to. And they say it's at random, but they were checking these people's history. They were checking who was doing what, who was making money, who was, do you know what I mean? And that's part of the bigger problem with politics and the government is whatever they say is not always what's going on behind closed doors. Like if they need to make money and they make money by sacrificing half of us, that's what they're going to do. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, as people now,
that's a big factor,
what do we do? Like, do you know what I mean? There's a whole,
And I'm asking that question. I'm saying there's four of us sitting here having this conversation, and it's a hard question, yeah. But if you had a magic wand, and you're like, I'm gonna wave a magic wand, and it will shift something in this particular area around like race and how we're treated within the medical system, what would you lot say are solutions or ideas that are like, do you know what, that's a step in the right direction? If there weren't the barriers that we know exist. And if you can't think of an answer, it's fair because it's a hard question. But if you do have one, I want to know.
Me personally, all I would say is all the funding that they did for buying masks for coronavirus, all the funding they do for the wars, and all the funding they do to have coronations and bury the Queen, if you put that into the NHS, I'm pretty sure we'd see some better results. That's a lot of money. Just those things I mentioned alone, there's a lot of other nonsense like the Rwanda thing that they did that's failed. That's 100 million went into Rwanda, that scheme to trying to deport people. Put that into the NHS. We'll see if there's a difference. At least with that amount of money, you're going to create at least a lot more personnel to work.
100%.
And if there's more people to work, maybe there'll be more people interested in actually the job. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'd say.
Yeah.
You got ideas or thoughts?
Yeah. For me, it was a bit different because obviously Dennis said that the people don't want to, like maybe they don't want to, but I don't think it's so much on the staff and employees so much as not wanting to. Like, first of all, I feel like there's a lot of like inexperience in the NHS. Like there's been a whole period. It's not to say there's nothing wrong with giving students a way straight into a medical system, but like I feel like there is a lack of experience, which means that a lot of these people are still kind of learning as they're going. They haven't directly dealt with these situations that they've been faced with. They're just going off of a textbook. It's the same when we was in school. It's like your teacher in school teaching you, but you know they're reading out of the textbook. There's a difference. I had teachers that I knew the answers to these questions, and I had teachers that I knew you're reading from the textbook. You don't know the answer, sir. I might actually know the answer and you don't. You're going to have to check this up. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's good that they're filling the void, and obviously it's maybe showing that there's a lack of this, like, but I just feel, it's just a lack of experience, lack of clarity, like with a lot of things. It does seem like it's a goose hunt of like back and forth. Call them up, they'll tell you this, they'll tell you that. Like with Aaron's experience, I wasn't maybe there for like the whole ins and outs, but I know there was a lot of stages. I was chatting to him when he told me initially he wasn't feeling well. I was one of the people kind of advising him, kind of go to the doctors. I know you don't want to go to the doctors, but go to the doctors, call them, kind of be onto them. Try and eat this. You might have no appetite, but try and do this. And a lot of the things was that he was calling them and being kind of not brushed to the side, but there's no clarity. When you're calling, they're saying to you to come in, do this blood test. They're not giving you results. You're going away, you're coming in, you're doing another blood test. These blood tests, they hurt. You're looking for veins. They're taking blood from someone who is not feeling 100% themselves. And you're not coming with clarity. There's no answers. How many blood tests are you going to take before you can give an answer to why I'm feeling a bit ill? Do I have a infection? I'm like, do you know what I mean? So it was just difficult, you know what I mean? Because he did try. It's not to say there wasn't attempts made. Like, he had been a patient in the hospital at a point while he was feeling unwell, and it was like, so just still question marks in it. So that's just the hardest thing still. If I could improve things, it'd just be to just more experience, man. You just got to kind of put people. Then they said it's a kind of like goal. It's give and take. Like, you have to be firsthand. Every experience is different, but also there needs to be more trials. Like, just more money needs to be invested into it. The same thing. More money, better training, more staff, better equipment. Yeah, like.
See, the only reason why I specify more money than anything is because when you live in a world like this, it's like money seems to be the only way to motivate people to want to care and all this other stuff. And then the only problem you have with like the NHS or the like doctor industry, pharmaceutical industry, is competition. It's all based on money. So when you cut funding in the UK, for example, all the doctors who've spent mad money to become where they are, and they know they can travel to another country and get paid a lot more money. That's what they look at. It's kind of like footballers. Like, yeah, everyone loves playing for a club and that, but yo, you get called for some more money, you go elsewhere. And that's the problem. So it's like in the NHS, if I'm not wrong, you have a very big disproportion between actual doctors that can get things done and NHS staff.
Just making up numbers.
You've got a bag of staff. Fair enough, their jobs are difficult because they're getting overloaded as it is. They're not even getting paid enough. So that's why on entry level, when you go into a hospital, you're having issues. You're having disrespect. Like, and you're fucking going there. You're going in there just worried about your life. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Someone might be that, and you're just so on that level, it's really a problem. So when they get overloaded, and I think Aaron's case was, they said that with the intensive care that he was under, they could only keep him under for 3 days. 3 days, like, that's very, very short amount of time. You say 3 days, you ain't seeing no changes or anything like that. But then how do you now justify to a family someone that's been on life support for a week or a month or whatever? How do you justify it? It don't make no sense. So fair enough, I don't know if the answer is putting a whole load of money into the situation, but if we have a whole load of life support machines or a whole new hospital, maybe 5 new hospitals based off the money you're spending elsewhere, and we have an influx of staff, then maybe we can just see something in it. I'm not saying it's going to work, but something in it. Like, it's better than the money they're throwing into other things, isn't it? Like,
and I do think there's something about targeting that money as well. So I agree with both of you. We need that. Then the NHS needs to be better funded, full stop. And that's across the board. That's not just around medical racism. But I think recognising that, you mentioned it, the stats around like maternity and all of these stuff around the ways that it disproportionately affects Black people. That's just factual. I think that when they're investing more money, or if they're investing more money, or if we get a different government that make different choices about the NHS, I think that they do need to also really think about where they are targeting that money and how that money is reaching the people that need it the most. Because, what we're talking about, every time I had to go to hospital with my mum not too long ago, my mum was in hospital, and I went mad. Like, I didn't even know what was going. The way I was going mad at them, and I know it's because of this. I know it's because of this. I know that it's like, nah, you're not doing.
You're not doing me like this.
You're not doing me like this again.
It's like PTSD sliding.
Like, for real. And I'm going in the hospital. I'm moving mad. I'm moving mad, and it's almost like I'm having an out of body experience where I'm watching myself do it, and I'm like, this is a bit mad as. But then at the same time, I'm like, nah, because if I don't want to hear a story again. I don't want you to tell me sorry.
Sorry,
this one, sorry's not gonna do this. Like, sorry doesn't do anything for this type of thing. Do you know what I mean? So if I have to move like that and to advocate and get what I need, it's mad.
Serious. Yeah, I feel like I don't know, maybe because we're not obviously there, we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. But I do feel like there is a lot of pressure on the staff on the
Yeah.
NHS. And if there is pressure on them and they have to make split decision calls on who they're giving their attention to and stuff, I wouldn't doubt that race definitely comes into it. Just based off how my normal encounters are with the police, if I'm getting on the fucking bus or the train or whether I'm in the shop or whatever, if I just go through my whole life how I've just been treated, I wouldn't doubt that it would be different just because I'm in a hospital. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a topic that we can talk on and on about, but I actually want to hear a little bit more about you all and maybe like how you've handled or managed the grief. Because I think that's because we've spoken about the hospitals and what the limitations of that system has created, right? And we can talk about that all day. But what I think people don't necessarily see is how we mop that up. Do you know what I mean? Other people make mistakes. Life-changing, life-altering decisions are made that, yeah, everyone in this room's life has been impacted. And I guess, how are you guys all handling or managing the grief?
See, grief is like, it's just an emotional roller coaster, innit? So, like, immediately, there's guilt. You start thinking, like I said, I spoke to him a few times. Like, I saw him one day. Like, we hadn't spoken for a few days before I had found out he wasn't well. So for me, it was like my everyday guy, and we had spoke for a couple of days. Something's up. But it was like a bit of like, I don't know if it's pride, but you know, like, usually I'll just phone my bedroom, but it's like, bro, like, something's up. You get it? Like, so I didn't phone him. It's weird. I didn't phone him. Because I'm thinking, bro, like, you ain't phone me. I ain't phoned you. Like, it's weird. You get a couple of days later, I text him. I think, new number. It's like a small side story, but it's just part of the story. Replied, who's this? Like, not like that, but who's this? So I'm feeling like something's up, but obviously he's just lost these numbers, doesn't know it's me. From that, I've seen him with Uncle T and I've held him up. And when I've seen him, he's told me he hasn't been well. He's on his way to the hospital now, etc. So from then, it was just like all my days. Like I've been being childish or nothing, but like my bed's actually been dealing with real life problems. Like I just thought maybe it's just enjoying. I don't know what he was doing, but so from here, it just made me take things a bit more serious. Obviously, I've called him. What's going on? You've been in the hospital, and there was back and forth. So immediately, when I had got to go and visit him, when he had been admitted into hospital and stuff, and I'm gone and seen him. Obviously, there's a lot of like, I'm feeling like, oh, like I could have done more. Like I said, I was advised him, try to drink porridge. You don't have an appetite, but try to do this, try to do that. So there was a lot of like guilt as in like, I didn't check for you. You're my bedroom. I knew you was maybe not too great, but I just thought, like I said, we're men, something that's going to blow over. So there was guilt. I felt like I could have done more. Like maybe if I knew this, you know what I mean? So, and again, it was a situation where, like I said, most of the other deaths that we've dealt with, there's someone to blame. So this was like, there's no one to blame. There's no one responsible. Like, where did I run? Usually there's anger. There's so many emotions in grief that like, was kind of like, I still experienced them emotions, but there was nowhere to channel it to. You get it? So it was way harder, like, for me personally, like that, because I'm trying to like contain this. Maybe with death, a lot of people have died. So it's not like where I've now got a space to say like, oh, my bedroom, like this is what's happened. So I'm dealing with just trying to be strong. All my bedrooms are going through the same emotion. There's times where I broke down, I couldn't be strong. And I needed people to be there for me, to support me in the same way how I would have said I've done for them. But it's just, you go through a roller coaster of emotions. You feel like you're responsible, like you could have done something. There's the guilt, there's the confusion. There's a lot of emotions what we go through, and I feel like there needs to still be like a way to kind of coach people or show people like when grieving, when dealing with death, like we was never really taught lessons. The first person I know who died, they died through the streets. I was a 13-year-old school child. So my first friend who I've known who's died in the streets, I was 13. I'm still in school. I've never seen a dead body before. None of my family, like the funeral was unheard of to me. I had to live with that trauma, not really have nowhere to turn because you look to all the man them, everyone's a black guy who's trying to be strong. You get? So no one ain't really crying. No one ain't really showing how they feel. Like, do you know what I mean? From there, it just begins. You just burying your emotions, basically. So, like, I just feel there needs to be, like, if there was better coaching, there's just a lot of things in life where I feel there needs to be systems where it's set up to just support people. Maybe, and we should stop waiting. Like, this is another thing, it's kind of off topic, but it goes to driving. I got caught speeding that to do a speed awareness course. I feel like you're supposed to do a speed awareness course before you get your license. But they make you do it after. There's so many things what you would not learn naturally. Like, you won't know. Like, there's certain things they're going to teach you in the speed awareness that, like, unless you study this whole theory book in and out, back to front, you're not going to know these things and you would never been tasked with it.
And even when you have the theory,
like,
it don't always translate to the practical.
We need to stop like waiting until something happens to try and do something. You get it? Like, we need to start laying down things first so that we know if you're ever to be faced with, like, same with earthquake. How do we know what to do when there's an earthquake? We've never experienced the earthquake here, but we know earthquake. You know what I mean? There needs to be steps in place for, like, just mourning, grieve, just day-to-day things, isn't it? Just things that happen in life. And I think that would help a lot still.
What I would say, to add to what he said with what we said earlier about not having no one to turn to and have no one to ask, because it's like it's all compounded into one. Like, you go to school, you can't ask your teachers for nothing. Then there's like, you get to a point where if you grew up in like an African household that I did, there's a point where you can't always ask your mum for something. Then like that exact situation, you someone at a young age, and it's mad. It's even worse because that age you shouldn't even be going through those kind of emotions. And then it's more frustrating because you go outside and everyone around you, for some reason, is going through this pressure of not showing each other this. So now you're all kind of going through it for no reason.
No one ain't talking to each other
and there's
about
still
it.
no one to turn to about it. But with what you said originally about like how coping, dealing with the situation, for me, it was just as simple as like coming back and just seeing everyone and how everyone was about him. It just reinforced who I knew. Do you get what I'm saying? And I said, rah, like, if this is how everyone knew him and this is who this guy really was, then it's like, how can I be upset? Like, you know, this guy, like, it's not everyone gets to meet people like this. For some people, you need to meet Drake and meet Nicki and all this, whatever. Bro, man's got twice as good as that in my real life. Do you get what I'm saying? So
no, factually.
that's what it was for me, really.
How about you, Sam?
Like Josh said, obviously, like, from early, we're having to deal with death and stuff, like our friends dying in the streets and stuff. So you're kind of learn how to numb the grief, just crack on. That's what we know, innit? With a circumstance, things were just completely different to what we're used to. So, that was very difficult to deal with, especially the times it happened. It was COVID. People are losing people regardless, you know what I'm saying? So, on top of that, that was super hard to deal with. But like everyone's saying, just that sense of community we had, and to see how everyone came together for how we, you know, how we just fought to keep his name alive. That's what, like, keeps me going till today, honestly. Like, setting up the foundation and doing all these amazing things, setting up the tournament, and, you know, seeing how the togetherness that A has just instilled in all of us is it's really kept me going, most definitely, because it just shows life is so much more than the physical, you know, and that's what A is showing right now. He's like a proper testament to that. And we're doing all we can to keep his name alive, and hopefully this will be motivating and an inspiration to other people who have had losses in their life, because like we said earlier, we've all lost people. We've never seen anything like this, you know, how we'll come together and, you know, how things are moving forward with the foundation and Like, this is powerful stuff, you know?
Mm.
So yeah, that's definitely what keeps me going.
Well, that's. Do you know what? It's mad hearing you say it's mad because it's mad, but it's not mad. Do you know what I mean? Because it's normal, but it's not normal at the same time. Hearing you all say that when you lose people in a particular way, and I can relate, when you lose people in a particular way, and you can place blame somewhere, it
Their coping mechanism.
yeah, you can disassociate a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen it my whole life. And the idea that everyone in this room has lost someone in childhood, again, that's not the average person. That's not their experience of the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to a funeral on a Thursday and you're in
Got school
lessons on a
tomorrow.
Friday.
Yeah, literally.
That's not the average person's experience of the world. And then when I think about, and it's, so there's that on one side, and then I think the flip side of that is that in as much as, and I'm going to get into the light at the end of the tunnel, because I do think there is, and we've touched on it, but I do want to talk a bit more about the beauty of like what is being built out of the grief. But still, I think the flip side is we don't have that resolution over this. And I don't know if that exists for a scenario like this. If I'm honest, I don't know what anyone can say. I don't know what the hospital can say. I don't know what anyone can say to be like, all right, there's resolution here. And that's mad. And that is like something that I think, when I think about that, and I feel like I have bonded with Aaron in his death, you know? And in a way that like, hearing you not speak, being around his energy and the energy he attracted and like all of that stuff, it's been mad inspiring. Like in my life, it's actually inspired me in my life. And that's only got deeper through this experience, right? But yeah, I think holding that difficulty, I know how it feels for me, is what I'm trying to say. And I guess I can only imagine what it must feel like for you guys. And I do want to say that I think I've watched it from a bit of a distance. I think it's really beautiful the way you lot are being able to just hold each other up and be there for each other. I think it is like, it's been very like beautiful to watch because it isn't the norm. It isn't like normally seeing young black men engaged with each other with that much care and like, do you know what I mean? Still G'd up about it, but there's love, like, and there's been so much love, and that's been like really beautiful to observe. Which goes into like towards the end of what I want to talk about today, which is the foundation. So we're here kind of speaking through the platform of the foundation, which is set up in honour of Erin's name and legacy. What would you say your hopes are? Like, what do you hope for with the work that's happening through the foundation?
I just hope to see the foundation get as big as possible. Obviously, we want to keep Aaron's legacy going. Like, Aaron was a positive person, brought everyone together. Like I said, he had a big laugh, a joyous, playful person. So really, I feel he would be happy. He done youth work, he done community work. He just wants this to just like expand and reach as many people as possible. If this could go far and impact the kids of the future's lives, the people of present now, make their day just a little bit brighter. Like, I don't want to say like Aaron was like a problem solver, but he was like, he could always see the brighter side of something. So for every setback, you know, like sometimes you need just someone to be able to turn to you. Like, I just want this to be like, personally, you get to be like a welcoming platform where everyone is welcome. Everyone can come if they seek help, support, whether it's through like community stuff, like youth work, play, going on excursions. We all remember when we had a youth club, going on trips. Like, we got to do certain things what we had never done before, whether it was just like ice skating or I didn't get to go Stubbers and that, but I think you lot went Stubbers, got to see early Chipmunk, just going on concerts, certain things. I feel like he would be happy to know that just his legacy is just building on like a positive impact in the community still. So yeah, we just try to keep them alive still.
Yeah, and I would add to that for the family, really, like anything the family would want the foundation to become, or anything they want to kind of venture out to do, want to just support them in it, whatever they think would be best. Because I feel like in these situations, when you lose the person that you love, obviously you look to the family and you make sure the family's okay. So whatever the family want to do with the foundation, just want to support them, really. Yeah, that's what I would say.
I feel like through the foundation, it's important that we raise awareness first and foremost for the disproportionate discrimination that Black and ethnic minorities are facing within the healthcare system, to educate as well, and to also create opportunities for the youth and the community in a wider aspect. Like Josh was saying, Aaron was like a real community man. He wanted to always see the youth do their best, especially coming where we come from, the circumstances. It's not always easy, you know, there's not always a way out. So
No
I
one's
feel
ever
like-
made it where we're from.
Yeah,
like, not
you
like
know,
that, but
like,
every other, like, not like that, but
it's real
you
life.
get it. So,
you know,
I don't know why I'm
like,
laughing. I'm tapped.
because
that's
it's
why I'm
serious,
through
like,
the foundation,
yeah.
we're trying to show the youth
Yo,
there's a way, you know, and we've got some amazing people across all boards working together on the foundation. So, yeah, great things to come, hopefully.
100%.
well, that's been a lovely chat. I think I'm gonna round it off there. But yeah, thank you. I want to really emphasize it, man. I think you men are beautiful. I think that what you're carrying is a lot, and people don't always hear it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe because of how it's presented. And I want to really just like emphasize the importance of looking after yourselves through it, not playing money up with the broken hand. Go to the flipping hospital and sort out your hand. Do you know what I mean? Talk to your people. Trust like you've got each other. You've got us. Like honestly, I'm not even just saying it. Like make sure that when you're carrying that little thing, it's important to know that you can just offload it somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I feel like we need to normalize like therapy and like just having space. Like therapy is mad. Like I ain't never been to therapy ever, but like from me talking, I'm one of the people I personally pen up everything. So like what I've worked out over the years, like from grief, from this situation, is like just being able to be more open about my emotions. And you work out that people are more understanding than you thought. And also that like once you learn to understand why you feel how you feel and think how you feel, then it's just like way more powerful. So it's
Josh,
just,
me never
like,
did know that you had them insights.
It's immense.
Got the wisdom.
No, do you know? No, it's
immense,
real life. It's real life what you're saying there, because yeah, the way I see it is when you hold negative emotions in your body, you get sick. Like it's in you, it's inside you. It needs to come out in it, and you need to find healthy and stable ways to let that out. So yeah,
You know, this has been very therapeutic as well.
Yeah,
100%.
for me, this is my
talking
to
otherwise, to be
man's
fair,
people.
don't really sit down and have a chance to do things like this. Yeah,
This is men's therapy. So this is why it's important that we create spaces like this for people like us, where conversations like this can be had.
That's a lot of insight as well today.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
No worries.
Thank you lot for having us as well.